we're going to start. We're going to start here, and we're going to go around. And I see a lot of enthusiasm out there.
Hi, my name is Gary Hedrick, and I have a graph that I'd like everyone to be able to see. Can I step up there with just
no, Gary,
quickly?
I think that you need to put those in the back. We're not going to do the signs now. Okay.
This just shows all the tubes that have been closed. The two red ones are the tubes that have been closed at San Onofre. The little lines that you can't see at the bottom, those are all the other steam generators in the United States with very few tubes plugged. So when they say Unit 2 is better than Unit 3, they're being honest with you. But it's not average, it's not normal, it's not what we want them to restart just because it's better than number 3. I got into this.
Could you put those down because people are going to get poked in the eye? Just put it down.
I got into this inadvertently. We started a group to become a sustainable living type effort. We were approached by whistleblowers, and just as recently as last night, I spoke to a whistleblower who also spoke to Huffington Post, and there's a big problem right now. There's sabotage going on, and the FBI has been called in to investigate how safety equipment has been compromised. So here we have this sabotage in an environment where there's damaged, defective reactors. They want to start up at 70% and see what happens. And we're going to all this effort. These guys are really qualified. I know they're putting a lot of effort to make sure that their theories are right, because we've seen, not in theory, but in reality, what can happen in Japan. And we're not willing to take that risk no matter how careful they are with their predictions and their theoretical hypotheses. It's just not worth it when there's so much going on. Even the union leaders are saying they would not support a restart of Unit 2 because of the lack of support from the workforce. There's so many things going on. I know I've used my 3 minutes, but I appreciate you listening, and there's lots more to be said.
Thank you, Gary. And
Chip.
you know, you have...
Chip.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to comment. I just want to say that the NRC is well aware of an incident that the licensee is reviewing, has been reviewing for a number of weeks. It does involve a diesel generator. Their review is ongoing. They did make a report to us on November 27th, and because our review is also ongoing and involves a security-related incident, we really don't have any other further information to offer at this time. But, Mr. Hedrick, you talked about meeting with a whistleblower, and so we'd be more than happy to meet with you after the meeting's over to talk about that further if you'd like to provide further information about the concerns that were relayed to you, sir.
It's all in the Huffington Post.
Okay. And you have an opportunity. You've heard from Southern California Edison, NRC. You have an opportunity to ask questions also. Yes, sir. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. Hassan Ikrat, I'm the Executive Director of Southern California Association of Government. This is a planning organization for the 6 counties. We have 19 million people that we plan for. Transportation, housing, energy, water. And when people talk about let us do this and do that, I think there is very significant implications of the talks. I appreciate the presentation, I appreciate the questions, but I have no doubt that neither the NRC or Edison will open this plant unless it's 100% safe. The question is, if it's not strong, then what? How are we going to bring the 20% generation into the mix if it's not that?
You know, we're going to treat that as a comment because we really want to stick to the technical issues. I know these are important issues, but we got to stick to technical on steam generator issues. Let's go over here to Gene.
Gene Stone, Residents Organized for Safe Environment, San Clemente. And I must say I really enjoyed listening to all of you really qualified engineers talk about this at this level. But what I heard here this evening was a bunch of engineers talking about how they can get this plant going because they all basically believe in nuclear power. So, but what worries me the most is the groupthink that I hear and see here tonight. You have unit number 3, which has extreme amount of problems. You have unit number 2 exhibiting the beginnings of the same types of problems, and yet you're trying to ignore that by saying that it's different. And if you restart, you will find at some point in time, even if you only start at 70% power, that you will, these same problems will occur in the same places that these beautiful charts and all this work that you've done to find out where the problems exist will continue. Because in your first two examples of the two, in the tube, what did you call it? We're there at the bottom where the tubes were, and they were the clusters. Well, that was still happening in your other photo of Unit 2. Even, they were still in the same related place. So I think you will find overall that you're going to have the same problem. It's going to be a major mistake to put all of it at risk. And Pete, I understand, I believe every worker at the plant wants safety, obviously, except for the person that did the sabotage. And you said you're going to be, Edison is going to stand behind and be responsible. But you're not going to be responsible of an accident because you're not going to be able to afford $1 trillion in damage to Southern California economy. So it's nice to say that you're going to be responsible, but how are you going to be responsible? You're not required by law to be responsible.
Well, I appreciate the discussion. You know, you had mentioned that we're ignoring the condition on Unit 3. I would offer up that, in fact, we're doing exactly the opposite. We're assuming on a unit where we didn't see any problem after 21 months of operation at full power, we are assuming that the same thing that happened on Unit 3 will happen on Unit 2. So we are not ignoring, we are in fact applying the lessons learned and the information from Unit 3 directly over to Unit 2. And that's why we are only requesting, based on safety and an abundance of caution, that we operate the unit at 70% power, even though it operated successfully for 21 months at 100% power. Our proposal is to operate the unit for 5 months at 70% power, and then go in again and confirm all of the information that we have concluded. So for a unit that is not seeing the same type of damage and wear as Unit 3, we are applying that criteria. I feel that that's prudent. I feel that that is firmly bounded in safety and conservatism.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go to 4 people here, and then we're going to go, I'm going back over there, okay? Yes, question.
I'm Vicki Medina with the Antelope Valley Board of Trade, and I do have a question. The Antelope Valley, as you may know, is North LA County, South Kern, where we're actually growing solar and wind farms. But my question actually is, does the NRC have the right expertise and resources to assess the safety of the Unit 2 restart plan?
Great question. And Art?
Yes, I think we absolutely do. What you were going to hear me say during the opening remarks is that we still have a lot of work to do. That includes performing a technical evaluation review by our headquarters experts. One of them is here tonight, sitting in the audience. And we also have some independent inspection work to do that will be led by Mr. Warner. It will take a lot of resources, as you've heard and got a sense for tonight. We have significant questions. We need to delve into their submittal. It is voluminous, technically complex, and as you heard, some of it represents new work that's going to have to be reviewed by us and perhaps other experts as well that will help us. But we do have applied the appropriate resources. It will take whatever time it takes to make a judgment about safety, but that's what we intend to do.
And just to add to Art, you know, if we don't have the resources that we think we need, we hire contractors, we hire experts, and we're doing that. Greg's already got contracts with 2 individuals right now who are helping out in the inspection, who are not NRC employees.
Right. Currently, we have 1 individual who's academia who has expertise in vibration and thermodynamics, as well as a individual who retired from a vendor who has 30-plus years to design and manufacturing experience. We're bringing them in to help us on our assessment.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Gabriel Welton, Executive Director of Plaza Community Services in Los Angeles, and the nonprofit network represent over 1,200 nonprofits. In terms of the process of review being focused and expeditious, if SONGS is not allowed to reopen, what the concern is that will other plants be forced to come online, forcing transmission lines and potentially removing properties throughout Southern California for those plants because of SONGS not coming online. In your review process, will you be moving forward swiftly in order to not have to bring other plants online?
I think we can address the review process issue part of that. Art or
Right.
Ryan?
In terms of the review process, it's already begun. And so the goal is to apply the right resources with the right focus and priorities such that the technical review and headquarters can be done in conjunction and in alignment with the independent inspection work. We're well along the way in conducting those reviews and inspection activities. And as a result of that, we believe sometime in the mid to late February timeframe, we will at least be able to provide a status of where we are with the technical evaluation report being conducted in headquarters and also the status of the inspection to date.
Okay, we're going to go. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Libby Halevi. I'm the producer and host of Nuclear Hot Seat Podcast, and I was 1 mile from the nuclear reactor at 3 Mile Island when it malfunctioned. So I know what it means when the experts get it wrong. Gentlemen, there are others here who can speak more specifically to the steam generator problem. What I'm concerned about is that Southern California Edison and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission have been dealing with each other for decades, since the beginning. The question being, with this kind of a closed loop, where is the place for the public and our experts to have direct interface on the subjects that are up here for discussion, who can speak with much more specificity than any of the rest of us? So we have asked repeatedly for an adjudicatory evidentiary hearing, which simply means that we wish to have a legal environment under oath where our experts and your experts can duke it out with each other for web stream, for streaming video, put it online, so that the world can see, so that we can put San Onofre on trial. If what you say is true, gentlemen, and I really do hope it is, that San Onofre is absolutely and completely and perfectly safe and nuclear is safe, what do you have to hide from such a hearing?
Okay. Thank you, Libby. And as many of you may know, the Commission has already directed the Atomic Safety and Licensing Board to look at the issue of an adjudicatory hearing. Yes.
Good evening. My name is Bill Craycraft. I used to be the mayor of the largest city here in South County, and I have a question for you. It's my understanding the Cal report has been in the NRC's possession for maybe a month, since sometime in October. Have you four gentlemen or your colleagues at the NRC had an opportunity to begin to review that Cal report and what it has? A lot of the questions asked tonight seem to be maybe possibly covered in that Cal report.
Yes, thank you for your question. Yes, in fact, we have begun the review. We did receive it back on October the 3rd. You heard tonight through this meeting that we asked a number of questions, technical questions that we'll seek to follow up on. But as a result of the preliminary reviews of the report by the Office of Nuclear Reactor Regulation, which is in our headquarters office, they have prepared a number of questions for the licensee that will be submitted in writing and on a docket.
Okay, we're going to go to these two women, and then I'm going to go back over to all of you over there. Yes.
I'm Dr. Marilyn Diddy, Executive Director for large senior citizen programs here in about 17 of the cities. You know, we've been working with San Onofre for probably about 30 years, and I really respect the work that they have been able to do. I also look at the research that has been done. And our seniors are very concerned about the rates. They're very concerned about the reliability. We have more seniors now on medical equipment that are very they're relying on electricity. So I hope this can proceed in a timely manner. We respect the work you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
My name is Vicki Fetterman. I'm the Executive Director of the Regional South Orange County Chamber of Commerce and Economic Coalition. We serve more than 400 members and have approximately 30,000 employees throughout the South Orange County region, and foster economic vitality by supporting our South Orange County business community. A common denominator among business owners is knowing that their operations will run safely and smoothly without interruption. Songs has provided that safe, reliable, and clean air energy source to Southern California residents and business owners. My question is, if what I am hearing is that independent experts support the safe operation of Unit 2 at 70% power level, then what more is the NRC looking for in order to make a distinct decision? Thank you.
Art or Ryan, you might want to say something about what the NRC still has to do on this to...
Yeah, thank you for that question. The licensee took about 8 months to come up with this analysis with their independent experts, and it's a lot of work. Our obligation for safety is to make sure that that work was done correctly and that we can validate that work. So we're going to have to take the time to go through all of that material and ensure that we feel that it comes up to the right answer or the wrong answer. If it comes up to the wrong answer, we'll have more questions or justification.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
I'm Betty Jo Tacoli, and I'm a small business owner and a president of the California Small Business Association. And my question to you is, small business creates the jobs, and we have responsibilities to our employees. And if you don't restart Unit 2, how are you going to provide us with the electricity to keep these jobs and keep the money flowing for our employees?
Okay. There's lots of important issues here, but we're really focusing on the NRC's safety responsibilities here and on the panel discussion tonight. So let's try to keep it on the steam generators. Yes, sir.
Yeah, this goes to the safety question, and it also addresses the elephant in the living room. Whenever I hear people say, "Let's restart San Onofre," when life and death are very breath is what's at stake, they talk of tube fluidity, elastic instability, and Fukushima rises like a mushroom-headed snake. What part of Fukushima do you not understand? When nuclear contamination hits the fan, plutonium is everywhere. It's in the sea, it's in the air, and we don't even have a good evacuation plan. What part of Fukushima do you not understand? I would like Peter Dietrich to answer
I don't think I need to say anything about that. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, and I do have a question about the steam generators. First of all, my name is Donia Moore. I have lived and worked in San Clemente for over 20 years, love living there. Edison has always been a fantastic neighbor, and they've contributed very, very greatly to the community. I'm glad to have them there. My question is, are there any examples of other nuclear plants that have operated safely at reduced power? And if so, what did you learn from those plants?
There are other plants that have, for various reasons, had to operate at reduced power for extended periods. One example would be if their what's called their ultimate heat sink, which is the water that they get to cool the plant, is too warm, or it rises up to the point where it gets close to the limit. They may have to reduce power to ensure that they're not putting too much heat back into the river or something like that. And so they would operate at reduced power for extended time period until the temperatures go back down. So that has been they've been successful at operating at reduced powers and at levels that Southern California is talking about as well, and even lower in some cases.
And thank you, Doug. Yes, sir.
Wanted to correct one earlier statement. It was said that the unions are opposing the restart of San Onofre. I'm from IBEW Local 47. Local 47 is equally concerned about safety for our members, and I was speaking with the utility workers business manager earlier today and confirmed with him. Both of us support restarting songs. I can't speak for all the unions. I do have a question to help put me in perspective, and maybe some of us in here. How many fatalities have there been either to workers or the general public from the operation of commercial nuclear power plants in the United States?
Important question, not really on steam generators, but we'll let it stand for itself. Yes.
Okay, my name is Beverly Finley Kaneko. I am an evacuee from Japan. My son and I came from Yokohama. My husband commutes now. My husband is Japanese. He commutes now from Yokohama. We're here to protect our son from the ongoing effects of the Fukushima accident, which are spreading throughout the northeastern region of Japan. My question today is for Mr. Dietrich. You talked about extra testing and data collection that your plans will entail, that you will be conducting if Unit 2 does go back online. How are you going to add extra inspections with a reduced workforce? You're reducing your workforce, I've heard, by 750 people. And how can you assure us that these extra checks will be done when it is already public knowledge that your workers have previously falsified routine inspection reports?
Not the falsification part, but the part about doing the inspections and having the resources. Anything to say about that, Pete?
Yeah, I would just add that first off, our efforts and our work to set the staffing levels of the station is based on benchmarking throughout the industry, looking at similar design plants and what the staffing levels are at those plants. We've gone through a very rigorous process there. As far as the inspections and testing of the steam generators, we will take whatever time is necessary to ensure that that all of that testing is accomplished and meets all the requirements. Those tests are not just verified once or twice. They're actually verified 3 times by different qualified members qualified to Electric Power Research Institute requirements as well as NRC requirements to be able to read and interpret and validate eddy current testing information.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Ray.
Thank you. Ray Lutz with Citizens Oversight. There was quite a few statements made, and there was a big slide about all the people that are involved, the different people that have been hired by Edison to do their work, which those are not really independent experts. Someone said there was a lot of independent experts that have reviewed this. I didn't see anybody independent on that list. They're all hired by Edison. So the concept that they're independent is under question. And so you said that this time you've done a really good job of analyzing everything and that this time you're sure that everything is fine. But I would be willing to bet if we asked you when you first designed these steam generators that same question, you would have exactly the same answer, that you've had the experts on it and you've done everything that you can. So there's a problem here that what Gene brought up, it's a groupthink thing. And I've done this myself. I'm an engineer. I can sit down on a spreadsheet and figure out a way that it looks really good for this plant to start. And that's exactly what you've done. And you've turned this regulation thing around backwards. And I want to know how this is supposed to work, because we have a regulatory agency that's supposed to be regulating the industry here, and yet the industry is telling the regulatory agency what they're going to do. And it's well within any of this technical specification that you have has whole tons, I mean, it's hundreds of pages of requirements about how to run a plant, but very few requirements about how to run a plant that's wiggling itself to pieces and has to be run with all kinds of support and plugs and is about to go out. The tube-to-tube wear. You brought up this as the main item, but most of the wear is not tube-to-tube wear. Most of the wear in these steam generators, especially 2, has to do with support wear and other things. And it's as Mr. Hendrick held up the chart, most of the wear in that has nothing to do with tube-to-tube wear. So to concentrate on that is completely, you're going down the wrong path. So I'm really concerned How are you going to go back and analyze? Why would it have been that you said, we have everything right the first time? Why should we believe you this time that you have it right? Why do we believe you this time?
I think, to be fair, I haven't heard the company telling the NRC what to do, and I think that the NRC has further review to do on this, and I think Art addressed that. Art, you may want to just...
Yeah, it's very sobering that, and I'm speaking about tube-to-tube wear primarily, which is a new mechanism. It's very sobering that a new wear mechanism has been identified after all these years of designing and fabricating steam generators in the industry. And that suggests that any entity that was involved over the years needs to take a sobering, introspective look about why that is. And you've heard tonight the submittals that were submitted by Edison. They also mentioned, Mr. Palmisano mentioned that they have some more work to do at looking at what happened back during the design. I was going to talk about it again during the closing remarks. We similarly have additional work to do, including the technical evaluation review, the inspection of the CAL response, as well as some other work that we're evaluating at this point in terms of looking at the root causes of the overall event. So yes, there's learnings for everybody, and you make a good point. When things like this happen, you do your best to learn from them and move forward.
Yes, sir.
Steve Adams, resident of Laguna Niguel. As you went through the details of what you believe went wrong with the tubes and talked about plugging the tubes in Unit 2 to restart it, is there, by plugging those tubes, does it create any rigidity in those tubes that would create a problem with the other tubes if the FEI continues and rub tubes that way?
Yeah, thank you for your question. As I understand it, by plugging the tubes we did preventively, do we create a problem with those that would cause a problem elsewhere? We have analyzed the steam generator tube bundle that to make sure we don't simply move a problem around by taking those tubes out of service. And our analysis shows at 70% power, again, the conditions are reduced. The problem does not reoccur anywhere in the tube bundle.
You know, the nuclear industry is, for many years, used tube plugging and tube stabilization as corrective actions to address phenomenon related to wear or related to cracking, and have not seen any additional problems created by any rigidity or those types of issues. But thanks.
Yes.